What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today, I was able to break through and reach Legend in the Go Battle League. This is the 5th season in a row that I've been the first trainer to be able to do it live on stream. It's already a very difficult thing to do, but being able to do it this early in this season is a very big test of patience. The queue times are terrible. Sometimes even going positive can drop you points because of down pairs that you might get, and as you'll see in today's video, it can be very frustrating, but it is very rewarding being Legend this early. If you want to see my battles live, I stream almost every single day at twitch.tv/ItsAXN, where you can see live insights into my gameplay and see my teams early. It's a lot of fun. I'd love to see you there. The link to that being in the description. And without further ado, let's get into the battles and see how this climb is going to go. All right, first game of the day up against the current world champion Yakai. Couldn't ask for a better opponent to start off the Legend push with, up against a Shadow Quagsire in the lead. This Pokemon's actually very strong in the neutral matchup against our Malamar, so what I want to do is go for a Superpower, swap out to my own Shadow Quagsire, and just kind of dance around this thing this game. Superpower going to end up landing, doing a massive amount of damage to Quagsire, and now it looks like our opponent does not have a great response. They're going to end up throwing an Aqua Tail into our own Quag. Aqua Tail ending up doing quite a bit of damage, but not enough here to knock us out quite yet, and then they come in with a Corsola. I used a similar team the other day. I think it's the Shadow Drapion in the backline. If that is the case, then our Dugong is going to be our win condition here. If I can draw a shield with Aqua Tails, I'm going to be in a good spot, or maybe if he wants to drain energy against our Quagsire here, maybe I can reach Foul Plays against this Corsola to take it out. It looks like we will be able to knock out if we can reach another Aqua Tail here. Looks like Yakai letting me get to this next Aqua Tail. He's fine, 2 shielding, or shielding once, farming down, throwing 2 charge moves against my Malamar when I bring it back in, and this will be a little bit uncomfortable. Even though we aren't taking super effective damage here, I know that Nightshade is a very powerful move. I think 2 of them at this point will be enough to 2-shot me. Nightshade number 1 doing so much damage to me, the second one coming through back to back. At this point, I do have to shield or else it is going to knock me out. There might be a combo play coming in, but if that is the case and it is a Shadow Drapion in the backline, I'm fine just sacking Malamar, farming this all the way down with Ice Shards, and then going for drill runs in the backline. In comes our Dugong here. As long as they don't reach that Stone Edge, we should be able to tank the damage and be very happy with our energy lead. Is this a Stone Edge? I can only hope it's an Aqua Tail right now. It is. Aqua Tail doing way less damage than our opponent would likely want it to do. And what do they do here? Corsola is very low. What is the final Pokemon going to be? It actually going to be that Shadow Drapion as we thought it would be. The same team I used the other day that helped me reach the 2900s. Drill Run drawing the first shield here. I could have gone for an Icy Wind bait, but that is unnecessarily risky at this point. And now a Crunch is going to be thrown. If it's an Aqua Tail, that's a very good bait, but no Crunch going to come through here. Thankfully, no debuff. We called the catch, and now I'm going to overfarm to a Drill Run here. I'm 1 away from a Drill Run. I know he is 2 Poison Stings away from a Crunch right now, which means as long as we can land this Drill Run, and as long as it's enough to KO, we can take game number 1 here. Drill Run, is it gonna be enough? It ends up knocking out Shadow Drapion and taking us the win in that first match of the day. Malamar up against a Guzzlord in this next game. A very awkward lead matchup because we don't really want to be against this with our Shadow Quagsire, but Malamar is going to have to throw superpowers if it wants to do any damage here. So I'm going to opt to stay in, try to get shields with superpower at the very least, maybe trip this down so Quagsire is going to have more play in the backline, and see how our opponent wants to play out this game. Superpower drawing the first shield, alright, so they did shield up that big move. Good on them, I guess. The next one is going to come through. It'll trip them down quite a bit here. It ends up actually drawing the second shield. A little bit of an interesting play by our opponent, but because of that, now I have a 2-shield Quagsire that might be able to pop off in the backline. Brutal Swing does end up knocking us out here, but I have my Dugong that I can bring in. Go for Ice Shard damage. We lag a turn here, which means that we have 1 less Ice Shard of energy and damage against this Guzzlord. Hopefully that's not going to end up mattering here, but it is so common nowadays to get these 1-turn lags. It's very annoying. Another charge move coming through from this Guzzlord. I should have an Icy Wind now if it weren't for that 1-turn lag. Our opponent opting to swap out to their own Dugong, and now I have a feeling I know this team. I've fought a trainer with a team like this in the past. Probably going to be a Toxapex in the backline. Just triple weak to annihilate, but with that said, this is a very awkward position. I'm going for the Icy Wind here because I think if it is a CMP, I should be able to survive this drill run, keep a catch, or maybe even a debuff clearing opportunity open for me in the backline. And I know at this point, by getting this chip damage against them, I have put them into range where a Stone Edge from Shadow Quagsire could potentially knock out. Because we do survive that drill run now after that Icy Wind, I'm going to be able to clear my Icy Wind debuff if I need to, and we'll have to see what we can do right now. They end up coming in and going for the Icy Wind, and then they bring in Guzzlord. I'm going to go for Stone Edge. I know I'm debuffed, but I hope this is enough to knock out. If not, it's going to be so close. Stone Edge ends up not quite knocking them out here, and because of that 1 Ice Shard that we missed earlier on in this game, they survive, and they reach a charge move. If they didn't didn't reach this charge move, we would be in a very good spot with a shield advantage Shadow Quag. But now we're going to have to dump energy here into this Dugong, and even if there's a good matchup in the backline, it's going to be very difficult to win. Imagine if we had that one extra shield, this game would be so much different. Stone Edge ends up landing, gets the one-shot despite being debuffed, and yeah, it is going to be the Toxapex here. If I had that shield left over, I could easily clear my debuff and then go for 2 Stone Edges non-debuffed after the Mudshot damage. That should be enough, but now instead of being able to clear my debuff early, I have to use my Pokemon in the backline as a catch. We get the catch off here, but because this is so late into the matchup, I know that they're going to be able to survive another Stone Edge despite it not being debuffed any longer, and these Mudshots not going to be able to add up quite quickly enough here to knock out our opponent. That is so unfortunate, losing the game to a one-turn lag, but I guess that's what happens every now and then here. I needed a 5-0 set to be able to reach Legend here, but a 4-1 will still put me kind of close. We'll have to see what's going to happen, though, in the next battles. All right, what are we going to see here? Malamar up against the Marowak in the lead. All right, a very neutral lead matchup. I know that we have 3 Pokemon that are pretty decent into this, but the Zero Shield matchup for Malamar is actually very strong because I can reach 2 charge moves. I can tank 1 of their charge moves as well, which means that we can also get a lot of chip damage and just have a lot of play with Malamar right now. They are staying in after throwing that Bone Club, so I'm going to go for the Superpower to be able to outpace them to 2 charge moves. You can't ever throw a Foul Play and reach that second move, so you always have to go for 2 Superpowers rather in the Zero Shield matchup if you want to outpace them before that second Bone Club comes through. This next one going to come and land against that Marowak. They don't end up double shielding this time, and that is looking very good for us. They do have access to Rock Slide, which would do quite a bit of damage to Dugong. I'm going to opt to shield it up, get a full farm down, and hopefully our Shadow Quagsire should have play in the backline. They're taking a second here to decide what to bring in. What is going to come in to answer our Dugong? It's going to be a Dunsparce. Not exactly what you want to see here as our Ice-type Pokemon. A lot of Rock-type damage incoming, but I know Shadow Quagsire is also pretty strong against this. They end up letting that move through, and they swapped out to Clodsire. I'm not quite sure why. They banked the energy, maybe thinking that they want more energy in the backline. Maybe they wanted to clear their debuff as well. But this is looking fantastic for us right now, actually. Icy Wind going to be able to two-shot. Maybe they have Stone Edge here. Maybe that's the case. If they do have Stone Edge, it makes a little bit more sense why they swapped out. But even still, Shadow Quagsire is going to have a lot of play in the backline. They go for an Earthquake as well, not even a Stone Edge Clodsire. So our Dugong getting so much use this game. Icy Wind going to come through here, get either a shield or a knockout against this Clodsire. And now this Dunsparce is going to have to 2v1 against a Dugong who they need to throw a charge move against, and then also a Shadow Quagsire, which resists Rock-type damage, meaning that the Drill Runs are not going to be able to two-shot us. I think at this point we can go for Mudshots and Aqua Tails and take the win by going for 2 charge moves here. If they call an Aqua Tail, we'll just go for the fast move farm down. If they end up shielding the first Aqua Tail, maybe we can even land a Stone Edge. Drill Run number 1 ends up getting shielded up. It wouldn't two-shot us here, but I want to make sure I use my shield this game. No reason not to. Aqua Tail number 1 going to be thrown, our opponent opting to no-shield it. Now I have to commit to the farm down, and it seems like these Mudshots are adding up a little bit too quickly for our opponent, able to take the win there. 2-1 in the current set. Malamar up against a Shadow Drapion. This Pokemon is very, very scary in the lead, especially. I don't really know what is going to be in the backline. It's a very flexible Pokemon, so it could be almost anything right now. I'm going to go for the Superpower play and then swap out to Shadow Quagsire. Hopefully, I'm going to be able to dance around this Shadow Drapion. They end up shielding that first charge move here, and then coming in with a Lickitung. What is this thing doing in the current season? Season 21, this Pokemon should be extinct right now, but Stone Edge is going to do a lot of damage. Mudshot is also going to start adding up here. I can two-shot a Lickitung. I have the shield advantage. They might bait me here, but that's fine. I don't want to get one shot, and because of my energy lead and my shield lead, I can opt to shield this even if it is a bait. Looks like they did end up going for the Body Slam bait here. I'm going to overfarm just before they reach another Power Whip. Go for this Stone Edge. This should get the knockout if they end up letting it through, or a guaranteed shield if they want to keep their Lickitung alive, which is fine by me. I'm going to show up now. I think at this point, this is going to be a guaranteed Power Whip. They don't really want to bait at this point, because if they do bait and I call it, that is so bad for them. They have a Crunch loaded on that Drapion, so they can snipe me down. All of my energy is going to go kind of to waste if they bring in Shadow Drapion. They crunch me and knock out my Quagsire, but we'll see what ends up happening right now. That is exactly what they're going to do, actually. They come back in Shadow Drapion, which is good that we were able to flip switch advantage this game, but it could be a little bit awkward depending on the backline. I do have my Dugong here that can go for Drill Runs and knock this thing out, but it really depends on their final Pokemon this game to see how much play we're going to have. Crunch is going to come through. It'll do a lot of damage, especially with a debuff that would be very bad. Crunch ends up landing no debuff, fortunately, and then they CMP us here. I know this is just an Aqua Tail, but that's a very good play by our opponent. If they would have gone and not thrown on CMP, I would have been able to snipe them down with this Drill Run, but because of this, they got as much damage as they possibly could have against against our Dugong before falling themselves. In comes their final Pokemon, a Mandibuzz with Air Slash. Alright, a lot more fast move pressure, a lot less charge move pressure. I'm able to outpace them here to a charge move. This Icy Wind should be enough to put them into range where Malamar can finish off this game. I end up catching a charge move here, likely going to be an Aerial Ace, maybe a Foul Play. It is actually a Foul Play, okay. A move that obviously is not a very powerful attack, but we are getting chipped down here with Malamar. I'm going to need to be able to reach 2 superpowers before they reach 2 more charge moves. I throw in the middle of the Air Slash. I'm at back-to-back superpowers right now. As long as this is enough to knock out Mandibuzz, which it looks like it's going to be more than enough here, we should be able to take this game. GG's to our opponent. That was a very tricky matchup there, but Malamar able to close out the game, knocking out one of its worst answers. Next game up against Wadaj. This is a very tricky set. We're 3-1 in the set right now. Need a 4-1 set to gain any ground right now, and it is an Annihilate in the lead. They're staying in as well, which makes me think they might be a little bit weak in the backline to our Malamar. I think shielding this up couldn't be the worst play out there, because I know that there's a chance we can go for superpowers against whatever comes in, maybe foul plays as well, and just being healthy on Malamar seems like a good idea. In comes our first foul play. If they shield this up, I can do one more sideway, reach another foul play, so they are likely going to let this go and come in with their answer that they have to us, which is apparently going to be a Wigglytuff. I have 2 things in the backline that are kind of neutral into this. I don't want to give them a big farm down. I'm going to swap out to our Dugong and hope for the best. They are staying in here for just a second, so it seems like either they don't have a good answer to us, or maybe they just want to chip us down before swapping into their final Pokemon. They do still have 2 shields in play, which with a Charmer is very scary to see, and they are going to swap out here to a Dugong. I ended up waiting to see if they were going to try to make a catch. Fortunately for us, waiting was a good idea because I didn't want to throw an Icy Wind against a Dugong. Drill Run is going to start tripping them down here, but this game could get a little bit tricky. I have a lot of health left over on my Shadow Quagsire, but they have 2 shields. They have this Dugong, which has a lot of energy. I'm within range where one Drill Run could knock me out. I'm going to come in with our Malamar here, knowing that they're going to be forced to throw energy. They're almost at 100 energy anyway, so even if I don't get the catch, they're not going to get much out of this. Icy Wind does end up knocking us out here, and now it's going to come down to if our Shadow Quagsire can finish off this game. I'm going to bring in Quagsire here, see if we can build up enough energy to outpace a Wigglytuff to any charge moves. I know at this point I have to shield something this game. Wigglytuff likely not reaching another charge move anytime soon, so I'm going to shield up the Icy Wind here, go for an Aqua Tail against this Wigglytuff, and I think I see a win condition, especially if they shield this move. Aqua Tail does get shielded. This is looking very good for us right now, because even though I know they will reach a charge move, as long as I don't throw this energy, I can Mud Shot and Ice Shard this down, have 2 charge moves for that Dugong, and I can store a Stone Edge, store a Drill Run here with our Dugong, knock out the Dugong either with his Drill Run or with his Stone Edge, depending on where they shield here. This Drill Run going to end up getting that shield from our opponent, but I think unless they're going to be able to build a back-to-back charge moves, there's nothing they can do right now. Drill Run is going to be thrown from our opponent, but I have that Stone Edge in the backline. Quagsire always wins his CMP. We should be completely fine here in this matchup. Stone Edge able to land against this Dugong, taking the win, just barely 1 HP, getting us a 4-1 set in the Go Battle League. This is going to help out our Legend push quite a bit, but the worst thing about this is I needed a 5-0 to get Legend right now. You're going to see 2986 here, not quite enough, and I don't even think a 3-2 in the next set's going to be enough here. Speaking of a 3-2, let's just get right on into it. I got another 3-2, 2986 down to 2980. We dropped 6 points for that. Another 3-2. What's going to happen now? Are we going to lose even more points? I guess we'll have to see. 2980 to 2980. We got 0 points for that set. A useless set here. We are on our 4th set of the day now. I need a 4-1 or a 5-0 to be able to clinch out Legend right now. What is going to happen here? Up against our first lead in this final set, it's going to be a Shadow Dragonair. This is going to be a very interesting matchup. I know they do win CMP on that first move, but I outpace them to the second move, and I have my Quagsire in the backline that's going to be very happy to avoid this Shadow Dragonair. Foul Play ends up drawing the shield against this thing, and because I do outpace them, I know I can get both shields if they want to win Switch Advantage, and if they want to farm us all the way down, I might even be able to reach another charge move here right before getting Dragon Breath down. I don't know if that's going to be quite the case here. We'll have to see. Can I reach Superpower? Going to be 1 HP difference between getting it and not getting it. Unfortunately, just barely not. Our opponent staying in, throwing a charge move against our Dugong. What is it going to be? Maybe a Dragon Pulse, maybe a Body Slam, or maybe an Aqua Tail, I guess. Maybe a misclick by our opponent. Let's see what they throw now. Maybe they're single moved. I'm not sure why they'd throw an Aqua Tail there. Maybe thinking a catch would happen. I guess this time a Body Slam. Okay, so they just kind of misclicked on that first one, but totally fine. I feel like Dugong's not going to have too much play in the back line, and I guess a Cresselia is not what you want to see here. I know that I'm kind of ABB weak to grass type damage, and without our Malamar, we don't have a great answer to this. Icy Wind ends up landing, might make it so I survive a move here. I absolutely need to be able to survive this Grass Knot, reach this Drill Run, and put them into range where a Stone Edge can knock them out, and then I need the backline Pokemon to be something that our Quagsire can beat. This drill run going to be able to do quite a bit of damage here. That's a little bit more raw damage. And the thing is, I don't really need to debuff this attack stat because I know at this point, Cresselia is going to be able to one-shot me one way or another right now. I have to shield this move up, and depending on the final Pokemon, we'll see if we have any play. Grass Knot ending up getting our shield here. They tried to catch the Stone Edge on their Diggersby. I see a little bit of hope right now, but what I need to do is I need to come out of this matchup with enough energy to reach a Stone Edge after one more Mud Shot. If I can do that, I can win this game, but I also need to be able to dodge a debuff with this Scorching Sands. If they end up debuffing me here, I don't think that I can knock them out with a Stone Edge. It's a 30% chance. I am more likely than not going to be able to win this game, but what is going to happen here? Scorching Sands comes through, no debuff. We dodge it here. That is exactly what we needed to see, and now we're going to overfarm as much as possible. We are almost at the Stone Edge if we don't already have it now. They are one move away from their Grass Knot. I can do one Mud Shot, throw the Stone Edge, and knock out this Cresselia. Somehow Shadow Quagsire able to close out this backline, just barely knocking out a Diggersby and a Cresselia in the back. GG's to them. Next game, what are we going to see? We are 1-0 in the set, a Diggersby lead. That is exactly what you want to see. Our whole team has a lot of play against this. I'm going to go for a play where I actually superpower instantly, and then I swap out to my Shadow Quagsire potentially in just a second, because I know that I have 3 good answers to this. I don't necessarily want to waste our Malamar here when it might have more play in the backline, and if our opponent wants to throw energy, they can be my guest. Scorching Sand's likely going to come through here. The thing is, after that superpower, they're in range where an Aqua Tail could easily knock them out. They might have to swap out here in just a second, but no, they're staying in. I don't know why. This is a very good matchup for Quagsire, especially when they've been chipped down this much. And Aqua Tail drawing a shield from this Diggersby. They're going to throw yet another charge move. Might get a debuff this time, but at this point, the switch clocks are coming back up in just a second. Looks like a debuff does actually come through here, which is going to be a little bit awkward. I'm going to throw the Stone Edge. I'm not sure if I could have survived that next charm. I just want to get as much damage against them as I possibly can. Stone Edge ending up doing over half of their remaining health on this Wigglytuff, and now Dugong should be able to neutralize this quite a bit. With that said, I don't know what the final Pokemon's going to be this game. They're kind of playing this game weird. I don't know what it could possibly be. There are already 2 normal types. Maybe it's a 3rd normal type. I'm not quite sure, though. It could be almost anything right now. Maybe even like a Drapion could make sense. Maybe a Corsola. Icy Wind going to come through. Maybe draw a shield from this Wigglytuff. Maybe not. Our opponent opts to shield it up, actually. Very interesting play. And a Gastrodon going to be the final Pokemon on our opponent's side. I have this Icy Wind ready to go. I'm going to be able to reach another one here, potentially, if they don't throw a charge move, but also I know I want to avoid that Wigglytuff at all costs right now. Psywave is going to add up so much against this Gastrodon. I have to shield a potential Earth Power here. If I don't, I'm going to lose this game. In comes that Earth Power. Luckily, we don't get baited by a Body Slam. Now I can overfarm, have energy for the backline. I know Diggersby and Wigglytuff are both still alive. I think, though, that our Malamar should have enough energy to be able to reach 2 charge moves, one against this Diggersby here, and another against that Wigglytuff in just a second. It's going to be a race, though. That Wigglytuff might be able to charm us down. I might even be able to just Psywave them down, though, before I need to reach this charge move. We end up reaching the superpower at the last second before we got the Psywave down, able to knock out everything with our Malamar this game. GG's to our opponent. All right, next match, I think we are 2-0 in the set right now. We need a 4-1 or a 5-0 to clinch out Legend against a Goodra in the lead. Another Dragon type, but I think actually this Dragon type is so much better for our Malamar, because as you're going to see here, the fast moves aren't doing too much. The charge moves, I'm going to outpace them too. If they want to shield this first move, I'm going to get both shields from them or do a ton of damage to this Goodra. They actually opt to shield that first attack, which I think is a bit of a mistake here. Aqua Tail ends up doing quite a bit of damage, but not enough to knock us out before we can reach the superpower here and potentially draw another shield from this Goodra. If this doesn't knock out, it's going to come very close right now. Superpower just barely not getting the knockout, and our opponent swapping out to a Dugong. This is going to be a very interesting matchup. They are up energy, but I do have a shield advantage right now. I have a Shadow Quagsire as well that's getting to avoid a Dugong and also that Goodra that was in the lead, but they stored some energy on Goodra. They're also going to be able to win this matchup specifically, so it's going to be a little bit awkward. With that said, if they ever debuff our Quagsire, we save 1 HP on our Malamar as a way to clear that debuff right now. Another Drill Run going to come through. It's going to do a decent chunk of damage, put me into range where the next Drill Run likely will knock me out, but I can reach this Drill Run myself, get them into range where our Quagsire can much more easily deal with it, and we should be in a pretty good spot right now. Drill Run might have been thrown on CMP actually here. It ends up doing a lot of damage, not quite enough to knock them out. No, not quite a CMP. I could have tried to CMP this one, but I didn't know if I'd win CMP or not, or if they'd throw it right then, or if they tried to catch on Goodra, so I guess I just opted to let it go. But at this point, because they threw right then, I think I can outpace to an Aqua Tail, potentially draw a shield, or just get a knockout against this Dugong if they want to just let this go. go. Aqua Tail ends up getting thrown before an Icy Wind. What do they try to do here? They end up shielding that move up, and now I waited a second. I tried to go for a catch. Unfortunately, we were both kind of like playing chicken there, seeing who would swap first, but we ended up swapping at the same exact time, which actually ends up being very good for our opponent. With that said, I know there's an Aqua Tail, I know there's an Icy Wind loaded this game, so I have to shield up that Ice Punch, and I have to try our best here to knock out this Alolan Sandslash. Everything this game is going to be able to be Mudshot down. I just have to have enough health to be able to survive one charge move in the backline. I think at this point, an Aqua Tail will do less damage to me than an Icy Wind or a Drill Run potentially from that Dugong. So if Dugong comes in, I'm going to shield up and hope that I can Mudshot down the Goodra before they can reach an Aqua Tail and Dragon Breath me down. In comes the Goodra. Quagsire gets the Mudshot down. Aqua Tail nowhere near enough to knock us out. Quagsire getting a sweep that game. GG's to them. We are 3-0 in the set, up against a Diggersby in the lead. We need to win one of the next 2 games if we want any chance here to be able to win this. Or to get the Legend, rather. I'm going to be able to reach a Superpower, do the play once again, or a Superpower swap out to Shadow Quagsire. This time they opt to shield the move, and now Quagsire is going to take a Scorching Sands. Hopefully no debuff, but I'm fine if we do at this point, because our Quagsire is just kind of more of a sacrificial swap right now. I'm trying to get it to be as low as possible, or to get this Diggersby as low as possible, and make it so that our Dugong might be able to align into this later on, and see what our opponent's backline might be. They're staying in, though, for a second. I don't know what that could mean. Are they this weak to Quagsire that they have to stay in right now, or are they just so strong against our Malamar that they just don't care? In comes a Drifblim of all things, a Pokemon we have Stone Edge for. We did, I think, get debuffed by that second Scorching Sands, but this Stone Edge is going to do quite a bit of damage if it goes through. Our opponent opting to shield this move up. Dugong can come in. Since our switch clocks are so desynced right now, I can switch lock myself into this for quite a while. I know I survive a Shadow Ball here, and they won't be able to reach another charge move after landing the Icy Wind. I guess they're throwing an Icy Wind. Okay, well, maybe trying to bait us here, but I know I survived that Shadow Ball, so no reason to really shield that for us. But this Icy Wind should be more than enough right now to put them into Ice Shard downrange. This time, this is almost certainly going to be a Shadow Ball. I snuck that Ice Shard. This might get the knockout here. Let's see what happens. They do end up getting knocked out, and the final Pokemon is going to be revealed as a Toxapex. Luckily, we have our Malamar ready for this. We have Psywave for this Pokemon. We have Superpower for that Diggersby, and as long as we can knock them out before they reach 2 charge moves, we should be able to win this game. I know that Diggersby doesn't have too much energy left over on it right now. They do have the access to either Fire Punch or Scorching Sands us, though, so I want to make sure that I don't let a catch happen, and I want to make sure I knock this out before Brine happens. It's going to be a lot of very close energy management this game to see if I can win this one. In comes the next charge move. I know they're right next to the next Brine here. Foul Play should be enough to knock out, but can I reach a Superpower against this Diggersby before they're going to be able to reach a charge move of their own? We reach the Superpower here at the last second before they get the Fire Punch off. This is going to be able to clinch it. A 4-0 in this set. We are 20 points away from Legend right now, and we get our final match of the set. A Sandslash lead against our Malamar. Very neutral lead matchup. They can end up winning the 2-shield if they really want to, but I can also get both shields from them with these superpowers. At this point, I likely have Legend clinched, but I would love if I could get a 5-0 to just go and shoot through the finish line right now. We'll see what's going to happen. Ice Punch ends up landing against us, and now they get to another one here. I guess I should have thrown a superpower a little bit sooner, but that's totally fine, because I still have these 2 superpowers. Maybe they'll let this go. Maybe they'll end up shielding. We'll have to see what they want to do. Superpower number 1 ends up coming through. This is going to do a lot of damage. It's going to one-shot them if they don't end up shielding. They opt to shield that one. They're probably going to have to shield the second one if they don't want to get knocked out here. And at this point, Malamar able to do quite a bit of work. I'm going to come in with our Dugong now, store a little bit of energy in case we need it, and in comes a Whiscash as a response to our Dugong. Not exactly a response here that you expect to see too often. I know that our Dugong is able to debuff this, and because of how slow they are now and the fact that this is a non-shadow Whiscash, they're not going to do too much damage to us. Icy Wind going to come through. It does a decent chunk to them, puts them close to 2-shot range, not quite against the non-shadow, but still should be enough after Ice Shards to be able to farm them all the way down. Another charge move coming through from this Whiscash right now. Going to be a Mud Bomb. It's a debuff Mud Bomb. Going to do almost nothing to us. These fast moves not doing too much to us as well. And now I'm going to overfarm quite a bit here. Our opponent not throwing the Mud Bomb quite yet, so I'm going to just snipe him down with an Icy Wind on bad timing. They're probably going to throw one more Mud Shot ahead, so I wanted to snipe them down before they could do that. And in the backline here, going to be an Azumarill. This is a very interesting Pokemon to see in the backline. We know that A-Slash is still alive right now with a little bit of energy, so this could be a tricky game depending on how they play it up. I'm going to shield this player up. I know it's going to do a lot of damage here. Our opponent opting to come in with a Alolan Sandslash. I actually might have just made a massive mistake right here. I went for the Stone Edge, but that was on CMP. They get the Ice Punch off, and I get the Stone Edge off, so this means they got the CMP sack swap here. I did need to go for a Stone Edge to knock them out here, but this is bad. I wish I could have snapped them down before getting that charge move through, and now Stone Edge going to land against this Azumarill. This is going to be such a close endgame. I do have a move on our Dugong right now. I can reach the Drill Run, but they have a Play Rough on this Azumarill in just a second. If they can knock out our or Dugong. I don't know if I can fast move them all the way down. We have almost no HP on either of our 3 Pokemon. If I can't reach an Aquatail and Quagsire, I don't know if I can win this game. This might just be a 4-1 here to reach Legend, which is a lot less satisfying. Yeah, it looks like it's not looking good right now. I guess Malamar's going to come in here, but Malamar, from nowhere, has so much energy from that lead matchup, reaches the superpower, knocks out the Azumarill, clutching the 5-0 set and getting us Legend in the best way possible. Not just reaching Legend, but reaching it with a 5-0 here. That was one of the most annoying Legend pushes that I've had in a long time. As you can see from those 3-2 sets, getting us almost nowhere here in the middle of the day. It was a very, very long day, a long push, 3 hours to get 20 battles in, but Legend, and not just Legend, 34. As of recording this video, this is 6 points away from rank 1 on the leaderboard. So not quite rank 1 in the world, but very close to it. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of stress to be able to get this, but this team, it did so much work today, and I honestly couldn't be here without all the support from the fans, the people in chat, the people watching my videos right now in YouTube. So I mean, thank you so much for watching. It's always so much fun to get Legend. It's also going to be a big relief not to have to push for this too much anymore, because I know people are sick of my Shadow Drapion Corsola backlines. I got to start spicing it up a little bit more. Now that I've reached this, it should be able to happen. All right, well, thank you again for watching today's video. It's a lot of fun making these, but if you want to see these battles live, I stream basically every day at twitch.tv/ItsAXN, where you can see this gameplay live. I'd love to see you there, and I'm going to be uploading a lot more to the channel, so if you want to see more videos like this, please make sure to subscribe. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you in the next one.